Hi knitters, Penny checking in here from PJ Knits. Today is Saturday, June 20th, and it's the first day of real summer. This is going to be a quick one. I just wanted to stop in and talk to you a little bit about something that I am going to be doing this summer that we did in the last couple of years. It's called the Shawls of Summer. And it's a summer KAL that we will be doing starting today and going through Monday, September 21st, which is the last day of summer. And what I like to do in the summertime is knit shawls. Now, we're still going to continue our summer tee along as well because I am really into doing a lot of knitting on tees for my summer wardrobe. But in between, there's some shawls that I want to knit, and summertime is the best time for knitting shawls. If you don't want to knit on a heavy sweater, or you're not quite ready to start knitting for the fall. So anyway, we will be doing this. You can follow along in the Ravelry group. There is a Shawls of Summer thread set up. I will also be Instagramming and doing it under the hashtag Shawls of Summer. And also I'll be blogging about it on my blog, pjknits.blogspot.com. So I hope you'll knit along with us some shawls. And if you're not knitting on shawls, show us some of your shawls on either Instagram or on the Ravelry PJ Knits thread as well. We'd love to have you. And there. So anyway, it's in true fashion in central Illinois. It's hot. We've had some cool weather, but now that summer has officially started, it's hot. And that's just summer in central Illinois. So we'll make do, and we'll be knitting on the porch with some shawls. And I have, which is no surprise to anybody, I have a list of shawls that I want to knit this summer and fall and winter, and and it goes on and on and on. So there's a lot of shawls that I want to be knitting, but I'm just going to share a few of those with you here today. First one up is a whip, and this one has been a whip for some time, and I have talked about it probably before, but this particular one is called the Kimono Shawl, and it is out of Cheryl Oberle's Folk Shawl book, and I've talked about this book many, many times. It is a favorite book of mine. It's one of those, if you only could take one book with you when you went somewhere on a desert island, it would be Folk Shawls for me. And so there are many in here that I want to knit, and I have knit several as well. And the one that I am knitting is Kimono Shawl, and this one, again, I have shown this one before, but I'm high on my priority list for summer is to finish this one. And this is actually a shawl that I have been knitting for hospice, and I want to continue, and I want to get it done by the time we meet again when we're able to meet with hospice. And it is in this is a funny thing. This is a Silver Shed USA bag, and I have a lot of these bags, and I really, this is probably the very first one, and I know that was the very first one that I ever bought. And I bought it at a knitting retreat. Leading Men Fiber Arts had a booth, and I bought the bag, that very first one, at our knitting pipeline retreat when Paula used to have those in Washington, Illinois. And so it's been housed in that and made a lot of trips to hospice. This is my ongoing hospice shawl, but again, like I said, I want to finish it by the time we're able to get back. And so this particular one is done out of Riley yarn, and it's a lacy shawl, and when it's done it will open up really nicely, and I'm pleased about it. And it's about 10 or 12 rows repeat, and it's very easy to do as long as you have markers. And I knit this one while we were sitting at hospice. So it's going to be a wrap, and I've got quite a bit yet to go on it, but like I said, it's a fun knit. It's enough that I can knit in public with it while I'm knitting it. So that one is on my list for a definite to finish, and it will, the nice thing is it will be a whip out, and plus it will also be for hospice. So I'm anxious to get that one done. This is, again, Riley Haiku. This particular yarn, if you're not familiar with it, is fun to work with. I do like it. It's got a little bit of a variation to it, but not enough that you have to do any helical knitting with it. And it's 50% baby alpaca, 25% mulberry silk, and 25% linen. And so I really do like working with it. I've got some other yarns. I've got a blue that for me that I want to knit something out of, probably a sweater, but Riley by Haiku, and I really like working with that particular yarn. So that one is a whip and is first on the list of things that I want to knit during our Shawls of Summer. And then second up is also a whip, and this particular one, again, this is in a Silver Shed USA, and this was a custom order that I had made. And because I liked the fabric, of course, to start with, and I've had this for several years. But I also, when I did this special order from her, I had her put D-rings on each of the sides. And then downstairs in my purse area, I have a long strap that can be attached to that. So that way, if my real plan was to use it for knitting retreats and Stitches Midwest, and I've used it several times there, I had her put a vinyl pocket on the outside so that I could, in the case of when I have the strap on, I could put my hotel key in here or my phone, and I could easily see where they were at in the plastic. And so I just love that piece about it. This particular one, again, and this is a whip of long ago, and I have shown it before, and so that's why I'm showing you these this time, because I really want to knock off some whips. This particular one is the Shadow Shawl by Antonia Shanklin, and the yarn that I got was from my friend Becky in 2016, and this is called the Shadow Shawl. And I've not gotten too terribly far with it. But again, this one is a super simple one to do, and easy to. The thing I like about this is it just takes two skeins of fingering weight, two different colorways, and so for those of us who go out and shop and buy, got to have that particular finger weight yarn just for fun, and then don't really know what we're going to do it. You can easily take two of your finger weight from your stash, and knit this. And both of these have stellina in them. I don't know if you can see that, but there's the Shadow Shawl. Another super, super easy one that you can sit and knit in public with or during your Zoom meetings. And a fun shawl, and I can't wait to get back to that. This one is by, Antonio Shanklin. And also what I've got in here, the yarns that I'm using are two. One's Another Crafty Girl, which is in her Twinkle Sock in the Spiked Tail colorway, and the other one is Diamond Dust Sock from Neon Unicorn Studios in Ephemeral Waves. And they both, if you can tell here, they both have a stellina to them, a little shine to them. So that's super, super fun, and both in my colorways. So I'm looking forward to getting into those and knitting those up. I've got a lot of shawl whips, and so what I thought, is to start small and try and accomplish a couple of whips, get them done, and then it doesn't feel so bad when you start up another shawl, right? So that is my plan, is to knock those couple of whips out in the Summer of Shawls to start with. Then on my list, in the new shawl, or the new cast on for Summer of Shawls, if you recall from the last episode, I showed you my pencil box that I got as a retirement gift from my friend Becky. And this is Koigu Pencil Pack, and this one is in Wildweed. And as luck would have it, Becky had a book that had a cowl and a shawl in it, that she let me borrow. And so I was thinking about doing the shawl itself. And then while we were at our local yarn shop last Tuesday, the Fiber Universe in Peoria, Becky brought to my attention the Vogue Knitting Spring Summer 2020 was out, and it just so happens that in this magazine there is a shawl called Departure, and this is by Ann Jones, and it uses the Koigu Wool Designs pencil box. And so I've decided that this is going to be the new cast on, and I'm super, super excited about this. I am so looking forward to getting that started. The only problem I'm having right now is I see they start with the light and then they go to the brighter or the darker down here. And I like that thought process when you knit those. But the important thing for me is I realize that with the shawl that I'm wearing, the most that you're going to see around my face is where it starts out here. So I want to make sure that I pick one of the colors that I'm going to like seeing on my face. And so I'm kind of leaning towards starting here and going this direction with the colors and then ending up here, which would put the lighter at the bottom. But again, it's going to be a kind of a test. And I most definitely will take your opinions. So if you leave your thoughts down below what you think, where I should start. And I'll get this close. I'm sorry about the glare there. What do you think? Start with the light, or mix them up and start with the bright yellow, or start with my thoughts here? Help me decide on this, will you? But I'm super, super excited about this new cast on to be. So stay tuned with that. So those are just some of the shawls that I have yarn already picked out that are first up on my list. But I do want to call your attention to some that are in my folder that is called Summer of Shawls. The first one up is that I'm dying to do, and I have yarn. The nice thing is I have yarn for all of these, as do all of us, but I have a particular yarn that I'll share hopefully in the next coming episodes with you for this one that I just purchased, A Girl's Best Friend, and this is by Isabel Kramer, and I have some great colorways for that. So I am super excited about that. It's a triangular shawl, so that one is on my list. Next up, I also have had in my folder for some time Tracy Miller's Unwind. And again, these would be some great choices that I could take out of my stash right now and knit up. So I'm looking forward to that one in the future. And one of the whips that I started in March while we were off, it's not really, the yarn that I have is from Briar Rose and the darker tones that are more for fall, but I have this already in as a whip, but I'm going to save it for later in the summer as it gets closer. But this would be Andrea Mowry's Night Shift. So I have this one in my folder. So what I've got here is 3 that I want to do after the 3 that I've shown you today. So Summer of Shawls, what can I say? Or Shawls of Summer, that's what I should say. That's what I've kind of given that the thought process from stealing the Boys of Summer soundtrack for this particular knit along. So I hope that you will join me in my Shawls of Summer, and stay tuned for future episodes with as the summer progresses. Share your shawls where all of the social media that will be linked in the show notes. I also want to say that we're still going to be doing the Summer Fun Along, hashtag Summer Fun Along. Tell us what you're doing this summer. And it's a different summer out there of things to do. Tell us how you and your family are celebrating those summer holidays, what you're doing for vacations. share. Give us some ideas of things that we can do. We are also going to continue the summer teas, hashtag summer teas. And one of the things that we're going to start also on the Ravelry group, PJ Knits, is we're doing the Rocket Tee by Tanis Fiber Arts. We're going to be working towards that. Debbie and Brenda and I think my friend Becky will be at least knitting it. And it's called Rock It Tee. And we bought yarn last week, and I'll just share the yarn that I've got for mine. We bought these at the Fiber Universe. It's knitted wit fairy floss and knitted wit single fingering, and both of my colorways are under the sea. And so I'm super excited about this knit along that we're going to be doing also this summer, continuing the summer teas thought, because in retirement I can now wear fun teas to things that are going on and things that we're able to go on to. If nothing else, for Zoom, I can wear them. So join us on either one of those. I'm looking forward to seeing what you're knitting this summer. Next week is ZK, which normally we would be in Rochester, Minnesota for that. But with COVID and everything that's going on, that had to be canceled. And it's going to be done virtually. And that starts on Wednesday night and goes through Saturday. So I'm looking forward to whatever that means. This will be my first time doing a virtual retreat. So it'll be fun to see how that's all handled, and to meet up with those via Zoom, seeing old friends that we're sorry that we can't be together with. So looking forward to that. That's coming up next week. And so then after that, I hope to podcast about that and touch bases with you on what you're knitting on, and to just track my progress on my whips and my new shawl for Shawls of Summer. I hope that you are all well and safe and are having a good summer despite everything. Oh, and before we go, I just wanted to tell you today's shawl that I'm wearing. This is Meteor Shower Shawl. This is by Jala Spyro, and I knit this in 2015. And I get a lot of wear out with it with pink. The yarn was Knit Circus's Greatest of Ease, and this is just a super summer shawl that I like to wear. It covers up the arms if you're in air conditioning, if you're able to go into air conditioning. Even just sitting around downstairs in our house, the air blows out the way it blows. It kind of blows onto my chair, so it's kind of fun just to have a little shawl. We were down on the riverfront in Peoria last Tuesday because we cannot knit inside Fiber Universe, and it was a nice breeze blowing in from the Illinois River and under the shade trees, and we needed a little something. So this is a nice, super fun shawl to wear and to knit, and I'll just give you the full version of it. This is again Meteor Shower Shawl by Jala Spyro out of their yarn. Super, super fun, super, super quick to knit. This would be fun to make even longer. I could see something, oh my gosh, the wheels are turning now. I could see a longer version of this for hospice. So many possibilities. So, that's all I have for you. Quick one this week. Have a great summer. Join us. And until the next time, knit on with confidence and hope through all crises. Be safe.